Rise and shine, y'all. We are your morning commute crew, Vont Leak and Justis Gregg. Good morning. This morning, we are very, very excited because back on the line, return. He's now
Regular guest.
a regular to morning commute here at Braving the Radio. We have William Paterson, President Richard Helldobler. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How about yourself?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Yeah. We thank you for coming back on. For those who don't know, we spoke to President Helldobler in October, I believe it was. And I guess we're doing something right because he came back.
Yeah.
Well, a lot has happened between October and now April. So
different times.
Yeah. And that's what we're excited. We're excited and glad that you came on for us to talk to you about some of those things as well.
We know that you made the announcement that WP will be returning to quote unquote normalcy in the fall, and students and faculty are expected to return back to campus following normal yet safe operations. What led to the decision to kind of go back to normal?
Well, we thought with the widespread availability of the COVID vaccines and the fact that the rollout of administering the vaccines were going very quickly, we plan to return as usual. The governor said a couple of weeks ago that he wanted K-12 and all schools to return in the fall, and we believe that his administration is planning for that accordingly. Of course, we'll continue to monitor the public health guidelines in terms of, an on-campus presence, and we'll follow those. And, if things change, they change. But right now, our plan is to try to give students as a traditional collegiate experience in the fall as we possibly can. I think we're all zoomed out. We're all ready to spend some time with each other and learn together and socialize together and attend athletic events together safely as we can. And I'm looking forward to that possibility in September.
So what does that mean in terms of events? Like, what can we expect on campus life to look like?
Well, right now we believe that the social distancing has been moved from 6 feet to 3 feet. We don't know whether that will still be in the place in the fall. We don't know about mask wearing. Unlike Rutgers, we are not going to mandate the vaccine for students or faculty and staff. We feel that that's a personal health choice. Mm-hmm. But we are also not making accommodations for students who are afraid to return to campus but don't want to take the vaccine. The same is true for faculty and staff. We're not making those accommodations. So that's the choice William Paterson has made. We felt that, people were, many of our faculty and staff are getting the vaccine, and we're excited about that. Many students are inquiring about when they can get it. We're excited about that. We're looking into the possibility of having a vaccine site on campus to make it more available to students. But, it'll be a little bit of time before we can really nail down, here is what it's going to look like. And a lot of it will depend on what happens with the vaccine or the vaccine and the spread of the virus over the summer.
You said there's room for there's anything could happen because there's a lot of time between April and September. Does that mean that they could possibly change that students or faculty may or may not have to get the vaccine?
We will not require it as an institution. If the state requires us to do it as a state agency, that's another discussion. There hasn't been any discussion at the state level about requiring that. So our plan is that we will not require it, but we're not making accommodations for people who are afraid of the virus and do not wish to return to campus.
Yeah, it sounds like good news, though, that we're nearing going back to normal and that you're giving students a choice to take the vaccine or not. But we also heard the announcement that class sizes are going to be increased next year. So what will that look like?
Well, our average class size at William Paterson is below the national average and the lowest in the state. So I think students can expect to see more students in their classes on average, but I don't think, it will be exorbitant. It's not like we're creating, some universities have sections of 300 and 400 students. We're not doing that. But right now our student faculty ratio is about 13-1, and that's the lowest in the state. And we want to get that up to around 17 or 18-1. So on average, you'll see about 18 other students in classes with you on average. Not every class will. Some classes will have more, some classes will have less, but on average, it'll be about 18-1 is the goal.
What is the average of the state?
17.
17, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So does that change things? Because I know that's something that a lot of prospective students consider when applying to Willie P, because one of our things is that we have the lowest class size, that we have low class sizes.
Well, I think that really what they're looking for is they're looking to be taught by faculty and not by graduate assistants, and we will maintain that our tenured faculty and our well-credentialed adjunct faculty will be still teaching our courses. So I don't feel like we're going out of line with what the rest of the state is doing. We're just trying to get in line with what other states are, what the rest of the state is doing.
Now, what about, because I'm a resident student, with everything going back to quote unquote normal, how will resident students be expected to socially distance when dorming with roommates that they weren't able to select themselves?
Well, I mean, I think ultimately everybody, if you're living in a residence life situation, has a responsibility to keep everyone safe, right? That is a mantra that we've used even on campus for commuter students or faculty and staff. Just because you're not a residence life student doesn't mean you don't have to wear a mask, socially distance, or follow the protocols. We still want everyone to do it. We're hoping that the virus is under control well enough that we can really resume a normal residence life component in the fall. If we can't, then we'll have to think about how do we organize residence life going forward, much like we did in the fall and the spring. If we have to have fewer students in order to keep everybody safe and meet the protocols and the guidance, that's what we'll do. But right now, everything is pointing toward a normal opening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know, like I said, I'm a resident student, so I know like the change that you got. And for those listening that don't know, residence life right now, I believe there's less people on campus as residents because of, I guess, enrollment, but also just about all the residence halls have their single people that living in the units, which is not typical.
Yeah, I mean, your students are going to have to judge their comfort level of living with someone that they don't know. They felt because most of their learning was online and a lot of campus activities were moved into the virtual format, that spending the money to live on campus wasn't necessarily the best economic choice for them. I get it. So now we're going to try to, do a little bit more in person. And that's going to come with a little bit of discomfort too, as we move into the new normal.
Another thing I heard about Res Life was that they're closing down over the other Overlook building. So that means both Overlooks will be closed. And now they're turning Hillside Hall, which is currently an upper class building, into a freshman building. And so that means the cheapest upperclassmen buildings will be White Hall, which was used for quarantine. It was used as a residence hall, but also as a quarantine camp this year. And Century Hall will be the second cheapest. So will there be a decrease in room and board, being that there's less options for upperclassmen to choose from?
Well, it is true that we've decided to close down 2 residence halls because of the drop in enrollment, and we just haven't been at 100% capacity for a number of years. And so it seems silly to keep buildings open that were vacant. And we decided to take down the halls that we thought were the oldest and needed the most work, and allow students to choose, better halls that were in better condition. I can't speak to the price point. I think Dr. Camarada can probably speak to the price point around that. But our goal is to really give students better living conditions, by shutting down the older, more antiquated buildings.
Next year, the College of Arts and Communication and the College of Humanities and Social Sciences will be combined to create a new college. We're aware that this decision was originated by Provost Powers, but what does this mean for students graduating in the College of Arts and Com?
I don't think it means anything. I mean, you graduate from William Paterson University. You don't necessarily graduate from a college, right? So your transcript says William Paterson University, your degree says William Paterson University. Your program of study won't change, your faculty won't change. The dean that the department chair reports to will change, but I think by and large, students won't be impacted that heavily. And in fact, I think it presents great opportunities to think about how departments might work a little bit more collaboratively together. Can the English department strengthen the communication department? Can the communication department strengthen the English department? Can art have a role in helping social sciences visually tell a story around data? I mean, I think that there's some really good synergies that could really ultimately come out of this, but I think students by and large, their academic experience will not change.
Well, have there been any, before this decision was made, was there any testing or reaching out to faculty and students and asking if they thought that it would be, I guess, a cohesive merging?
Well, we talked with the faculty and the chairs who were impacted by the decision. Yes, we did. And really this construct of humanities, social science, arts, and communication is more of a traditional construct, a conditional gathering of departments than, let's say, a separation of arts and comm and humanities and social sciences. You know, it used to be back in the day that the three main colleges on any campuses were arts and sciences, and that included all the arts, all the humanities, all the social sciences, and all the hard sciences. They were grouped into one large college, and then you have a college of education and a college of business. William Paterson had spread it into 3 different colleges, and we thought that for synergy reasons, it was best to bring back the 2 colleges of arts and comm, which was the smallest college, with the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. Could we have done a better job about talking with more people about doing it? Yes. But part of it was an administrative decision around cost containment, and we were launching a search for the dean, and we either had to make the decision to hire a new dean or bring the 2 colleges together, and we ultimately landed on bringing the 2 colleges together. I know that's not a popular decision for everyone. I still think it's the best decision for William Paterson, and I don't think students will by and large see their educational experience impacted.
About the cost containment thing that you mentioned, could you talk to us a little bit about that? Because there are some programs that we heard are being eliminated, such as art history and other things in the art department. And those, from my understanding, don't cost the university anything. So can you talk to me about the cost containment thing?
Well, every program costs the university something, right? We hire faculty salaries are a cost. They use space, that's a cost to upkeep the space. They use utilities, that's a cost to the university as well. And yeah, we are looking at some program closures for low enrolled programs. That doesn't mean that students won't have an opportunity to study art history. We will still offer art history for the painters and the sculptors and the anime folks, and where we have strong enrollments. It just means that you won't be able to major in art history going forward. And like the other programs that we're considering closing, it is really, you know, a matter of, you know, students vote with their feet. If those are high enrolled programs and there's a strong interest, we would have no interest in closing them. But most of the programs that we've looked at over the past 5 years have had 30 or less majors and less than 10 graduates in 5 years running. So, you know, it's not even like we looked at programs where there was a year that was a blip, right? Where they had 35 majors every year, and 1 year they had 20. And so we focused on that year that they had 20 and we closed it down. No, we really looked at trend data, you know, over time. So it's a misnomer, or it's really, I mean, I would say a false narrative to say that programs don't cost the university anything. Every program costs the university something. No, you know, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
During the tuition hearing last month, there was a question regarding the layoff and furloughs of faculty and staff. However, there was an agreement for salary increases for other members of the university, one of which being you. How can you justify the raise when other employees are facing layoffs?
Well, first off, let me say that everyone's getting a raise next year, right? The salary freezes and the cost of living increases that were abated for this 12-month period kicks back in the fall, right? And as you know, my contract was up. And so the board had a choice. They could either renew my contract, or they could say, we're not going to renew your contract. And then I would be, you know, I would look for another presidency. You know, the board chose to renew my contract. And in the context of that, they believed in pay equity. They believed in, equal pay for equal work. They brought my salary in line with what other presidents were making. You know, I don't feel that as the only openly gay president in the state of New Jersey that I should be making less than my counterparts who either have the same amount of experience or less experience than I do. I wouldn't expect either one of you two either to take less pay for the same work. Either we believe in social justice and equity, or we don't. And if we say, no, it's good for faculty and staff, but it's not good for the administration, then we don't really believe in it as a value. We believe in it as a tool, and that's never good. For me, it's a value. I wouldn't expect you to take less money for the same work. I don't expect I should. I don't expect women should.
Do you believe that you were paid less initially because you were an openly gay president in the state of New Jersey?
I don't know whether I was or not. I do know that when I looked at the data going into these contract talks, I was the lowest by about $30,000 or $40,000.
Wow.
And again, yeah, we agree, but how can one justify the raise when there are other employees facing layoffs? What about those in the employees that are being furloughed?
Well, everyone, again, next year, no one's going to be furloughed. we do have to right size the institution because of the enrollment drop and the fact that state appropriations haven't increased over the past several years. And faculty salaries go up every year, staff salaries go up every year, administrative salaries go up every year, right? And that's just, that is part of our contractual process. So, by not giving everybody raises, you can't keep everybody anyway, because we just don't have the enrollment to support it. We've lost a third of our enrollment, right, over the last 10 years. William Paterson used to be around 11,000 students. Now we're about 9,600 students. And we've kept the same number of faculty when we had 11,000 versus 9,000, 9,600. So we have to ultimately right size, to make to keep the institution affordable to students, right? We've tried not to raise tuition more than 2% a year because we know it's hard for students to afford school. We also know that the state isn't coming forward with more money. So, it is that everyone, I think, what I will say about this is everyone has been treated equal. Faculty and staff are getting a raise, administration's getting a raise. We are honoring our contracts, and that's really in the spirit in which this has to move forward. I don't think you can single out any one group and say they deserve it, but you don't.
When can the university publicly release the cut programs to the student body?
We have a few more steps to go before in our shared governance process, but I think probably, before the end of the semester, you will know. Students who are currently in those programs that are slated to be closed will be given a teach out plan. That's part of our accreditation, that we have to do that for students who will be impacted. But ultimately, I think students will know by the end of the semester.
And what is the teach out? What is that?
So we say to a student, okay, you're in year 3 of your program. We'll give you 2 more years to finish, and we can do that in a variety of different ways. We can either give you the classes that you need to finish, or we can partner with another university that's close by that offers the classes that can help you, get through your program. There's a variety of different ways the university can go about it. But we do have to present the teach out plan to the Middle States Commission in order to make sure that we're in compliance with their regulations.
And that'll be to the programs that like the art history program and other program, Asian studies, that are being eliminated?
Should they ultimately be eliminated? Yes.
No, I'm saying, but the teach out is for those programs that are being eliminated?
Correct.
Okay. For some of these programs, let me ask for the arts and comm. That changes what their degree will say, right? Because it'll be William Paterson, and it'll still be a degree at the end of the day. But isn't a Bachelor of Arts different and have different not circumstances, but meaning than a Bachelor of, Science or Bachelor of whatever the new program was?
Those degrees will stay the same. If you're in a Bachelor's of Arts in Communication, with the fusion of the college, it will still say a Bachelor of Arts in Communication. Those degrees will not change.
You mentioned earlier about keeping, students involved with the decision making, and it's kind of impossible for students to suggest changes when they're not really well informed. You promised the SGA a webpage where updates on campus news such as layoff numbers and advisement changes can easily be accessed. What's the plan for this, and when can students expect to see this?
Well, we're waiting. So we met with the executive board of SGA, I think 2 weeks ago, and we sent our responses back to them. And we're waiting for them to communicate with us about, what are they looking for before we really go into the design phase of how we do it. What they suggested was that they wanted a WP Connect app. And so we're having discussions around what that might look like and what utility they would like within that app or some other mechanism. And they also asked that we put university events into Cork, which is right now focused on student life events. And they wanted more university events put into Cork, which we agree. We don't have a university-wide calendar. So really figuring out how to communicate with students regularly is a challenge. We've been told they don't like emails. We try only to use texts in cases of urgency or where we have a call to action. We try not to use them for informational purposes. So we're trying to figure it out. But I will tell you that I meet with SGA leadership every other week. This notion that we haven't been transparent or we haven't been forthcoming, I think, again, is just a false narrative. If any SGA president has a concern, they see me every 2 weeks. I've never turned a meeting down with anyone. You know, so I'm hoping that we, you know, going forward, we can have better communication and better strategies on how to communicate with students going forward. But I think part of the frustration is that everybody wants to know who's on the layoff list, what names, and that we just can't share. It's part of our contractually negotiated process. It's a personnel decision. We would never share a list openly. And I think that's what everybody really wants to know. And I know the students really express a desire to be part of the layoff process. And that just can't happen because it's a contractually negotiated thing with our unions, and we have to follow the negotiated process. That was a long.
No, it's fine. I understand the the concern. I'm not SGA, but for people like Justice and I and other students who aren't part of SGA, having some type of I guess communication with you and with whatever is going on in these meetings and forums obviously is important as well. So I understand the form and
yeah. I would just say to any student out there who's listening, I have open office hours once a month. I used to have pizza with the president. When COVID hit, I moved them into Zoom. And so any open office hour, any student can come in and ask any question that they want. Also, I'm always responsive to email. So if students have questions, they're free to email me at president@wpunj.edu. And if I don't have the answer, I'll get back to you, or I'll connect you with the appropriate vice president who can give you the answer that you need.
Last but not least, with everything going back to normal in the fall, hopefully we see, because I know Starbucks is closed. I know there's a lot of the student center closed. Hopefully we start to see some type of normalcy and things start to open up again. Will we see you at some of these events?
Sure. I can't wait. I can't wait to get back to events. In fact, I got to actually go and sit and watch volleyball games and a couple of games socially distanced this spring. And it was just, I can't wait to get back to campus. I can't. I mean, interacting with the community is one of the things that I really love about being a president, and that has been missing for me. And I think, you know, the energy that you get through a screen is not the same energy that you get with sitting with someone and sharing a cup of coffee and having a conversation. So I will be there. As soon as we open, I will be there.
So that means we can expect to see you in the radio station too?
You know, third time's the charm. Bring me back.
Yeah, let's do an interview in person.
Absolutely.
Or let's do, me and Justice been talking about doing a live show. We're waiting to get that off and popping in the student center next semester, or maybe not next semester, but next spring. Love to see you there.
I'm in. I spent more time in the Martini room than any other room on campus over this whole pandemic. So I look forward to getting in that room with some people in it.
All right.
We look forward to it too. I think we're all excited for kind of, you know, some normalcy next semester.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are there any other messages that you want to get out to the people who may or may not hear from you regularly?
Well, I think, you know, what I would say to everyone is these are challenging times. There's no getting around it. The university is making some tough decisions in order to keep the institution sustainable for the student population that we serve, which is we want to be able to provide access to a quality education at an affordable price. And as enrollment drops, we have to make some difficult decisions, and I get that. But ultimately, I believe that we will come out the other side of it stronger by putting resources where students need them the most, keeping tuition low, working to get more open educational resources to keep books and book fees low, book costs low, more tutoring support, more hands-on learning and internship support, and better career placement opportunities. That's the focus. And that's what I would say to everybody. And I look forward to seeing you all on campus in the fall.
All right. Well, once again, we thank you and appreciate you taking the time out to speak with us as always.
Yes,
hopefully next time we see you, or next time we speak to you, you can come up to the station, or we'll be doing an open mic in the student center. We'll see you stop by.
Just let me know. I'd be happy to be there.
Thank you.
All right. You're listening to Jersey's #1 for New Indie, Brave New Radio, Vont Leak
Justis Gregg
signing off.